My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Feel your max with Brooks Running and the all-new Ghost Max 2. They're the shoes you deserve, designed to streamline your stride and help protect your body. Treat yourself to feel-good landings on an ultra-high stack of super comfy nitrogen-infused cushion that takes the edge off every step, every day. The Brooks Ghost Max 2. You know, technically, they're a form of self-care. Brooks, let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight from conversations with fellow dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Dr. Haley. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download podcast. I am so happy that you're here this week. We're going to be doing a very fun catch-up episode, given that I'm officially 2 months into working. I started work on June 10th as a new dentist associate at a practice here in Southwest Michigan. It's a bit more of a rural location. And we were off for the first week of July. So after this, it's officially been just about 2 months of working. So I have all kinds of reflections. I'm going to keep a similar format for future months when I do more check-ins and more updates, but we're going to kind of go through specific categories, if you will, of my progress and my experience so far. But before we do all that, let's get into our intro where we'll go through some life updates, a recommendation for the week, what motivated me this week, and one thing I learned this week. So life updates. The whole episode is kind of a professional life update, so we're not going to get into that yet. But fun thing is, I mentioned before, I started a sourdough journey, and I'm sourdough crazed. Just kidding, but it is so much fun. We usually make pizza dough every single week. I usually make a bread loaf every week, every 2 weeks, and I've been making bagels most weekends as well. And I even made my first batch of discard cookies with it, and I'm going to bring some of the extra ones into work. That way I don't eat them all myself. But 2 months into work, I really can't believe it, and life is good is a little spoiler for how things are going. My recommendation of the week is going to be a positive Facebook group. I love certain Facebook groups like Dental Nachos, and Dentistry in General is another really good one, but those are pretty large, especially Dental Nachos, so occasionally you get some angry posts. Dr. Paul Goodman's pretty good at trying to moderate everything, but you have to let people talk and everything kind of within reason. But the one that I wanted to recommend specifically is a colleague and friend, Dr. Alan Stern. I was just on his podcast, actually. I think it's coming up the same day that this episode is up. So if you want to check out his Facebook group is where he posts his kind of podcast video casts. And his group is Better, Richer, Stronger. So you can join that Facebook group. And he does a lot of good, quick messaging kind of to start each week. And then he also has different guests on, like myself, to share their insight and their journey as well. What is motivating me this week is actually going to be financial growth. So I'm really, really working hard towards our savings goals for myself to buy a new car that I've mentioned last week and future home plans with my fiance. So you can listen into last solo episode from 2 weeks ago, which was all about financial planning if you want to know more of how that is working as a new dentist. Just as a little update from that episode, still no definitive housing future plans yet. We just have come together on a dollar amount goal and saving by a certain date. And then I'm meeting with my financial planner that specializes in dentists this coming Friday of the week that you're listening to it. So we'll go over the goals that we set as a couple, as non-finance educated people, and go over those with the financial planner and see if anything needs to be tweaked from there. But that's very motivating to me, of course, is seeing savings start to build and just knowing that we're working towards something concrete and specific on a semi-flexible timeline right now. But in my mind, it's a pretty firm timeline, even though we haven't made any actual commitments to moving at a specific time. We do have a goal and a date, general couple months that we want to be getting out of this rental property. And something that I learned this week, sometimes giving your best is all you can do. And I don't mean that as a cop-out. It doesn't feel good when you don't get the results that you wanted, obviously. But it's really hard to set boundaries of still trying to grow and learn and improve and be critical and become the best that you can. But you have to recognize when a scenario is simply just really, really challenging, and to have a balance of how can I do better next time, or how could I have done better in that moment without beating yourself up too much. And that's super hard. So it's really important to start making your own steps, to not base your clinical results, to tie that to your own self-worth. But we still need to make sure that we care enough to continue to self-critique or to seek out critique from mentors, which in my case is other doctors at my office. So you need to not beat yourself up too much, but still be working to improve. Tricky line to walk, and I'm working on it as I go. But the main thing I've done that is helping me is try to remember the saying that goes, the patient does not care how much you know, they care how you made them feel. And that's what they're going to remember. Those soft skills in dentistry are so crucial, not necessarily the tactile clinical skills. Of course, we want them to be as good as possible. Don't get me wrong. But when you're feeling down, keep in mind all those other things that you did to give that patient a positive experience, and those things that can't be taught clinically. All of that interaction and that encouragement and that support and that kindness and that respect that you treat patients with almost matters more. And with all that said, let's get into the main portion of this week's episode, which is all about my first 2 months of work. Are you tired of sacrificing comfort for clarity? Meet Andau Medical, revolutionizing the way you see dentistry with their cutting-edge ergonomic loupes. Picture this: precision, comfort, and unparalleled support all rolled into one sleek package. Andau Medical's ergonomic loupes are engineered to perfection, boasting a 60-degree declination angle for optimal posture, making every procedure a breeze. But wait, there's more. These loupes are not only ergonomic, but also the lightest weight on the market, so you can say goodbye to neck strain and hello to effortless focus. With an expanded field of view and depth of field, you'll catch every detail with crystal clarity. And guess what? Andau Medical offers the broadest magnification range in the market, from 3x all the way up to 10x, ensuring you have the perfect view for every task. But what truly sets Andau Medical apart is their unwavering commitment to support. They offer personalized product customization and individualized onboarding support, ensuring you get the most of your investment. Here's the cherry on top: a lifetime warranty, a convenient loaner program, and a customer loyalty program that rewards you for your loyalty, plus even more support for students. Need assistance? Andau Medical has got you covered with a dedicated support portal designed with you in mind. Plus, they offer a generous 3-month customization period to ensure your loop experience is tailored to perfection. With representatives across North America and the ability to demo their loupes remotely, experiencing the Andau Medical difference has never been easier. And if you're still not convinced, just take a look at their glowing reviews. Over 400 5-star ratings on Google, maintaining a perfect score. It's no wonder why dental professionals everywhere are making the switch to Andau Medical. So if you're ready to elevate yourself to new heights, visit Andau Medical's website at www.andaumedical.com. And don't forget to follow them on my social media to stay up to date on the latest innovations in dental technology. Transform your dentistry experience today with Andau Medical's ergonomic loupes, because when precision meets comfort, excellence follows. Again, thank you to Andau for sponsoring this week's podcast episode, and I will have their link in the description. Okay, I pulled my production collection report from since I started working on Monday, so a week ago. So it doesn't have my most recent week of work, so we could add in, some more patients than the numbers I'm giving you here today. But I have seen 300 patients so far. And if you look back in my last vlog of dental school, you would see that I saw about 100 patients at dental school. and then 300 patients on external rotation. So about 400 patients total in 2 years of school.
Want to teach your kids financial literacy, but not sure where to start? Greenlight can help. With Greenlight, parents can keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens use a card of their own to build money confidence. As a parent, you can send instant money transfers, set up chores, automate allowance, and more. It's a convenient way to run your household, customized to your family's needs, and the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Get started with Greenlight today and get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Overnight, Dunkin's pumpkin spice coffee has sent folks into a cozy craze. I'm Lauren LaTulip reporting live from home in my hand-knit turtleneck that my Nana made me. Cinnamony.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
So 2 whole years compared to 2 whole months, and I've seen almost as many patients in the real world. Again, I mean patient encounters. So some things at school were exams, some things here were exams, some things were crowns, some things were all different types of procedures. And I did write down what I did in school because I mentioned it again in that final vlog of dental school, but I don't think I ever mentioned it in the podcast. So if you're curious, for people that are still in school or looking forward to dental school, this is the kind of amount of procedures that I did during dental school specifically, not including the 12 weeks on external rotations where I saw almost triple the patients that I did during 2 years of dental school. But I did over 100 restorations. I did almost 200 restorations, really, including rotation, about 50 extractions, just under 20 crowns, a lot of random denture steps, but start to finish, I think I did around 6 dentures. I did about 7 partial dentures and more than 90 exams and cleanings, handful of SRPs, handful of perio maintenances, only 1 bridge, only restored 1 implant. And from all of that, you can see now in practice, I don't have the report per procedure of what I've done, but I've done over 20 crowns again in 2 months compared to 2 years of school. And I've done a lot of restorations as well. We don't do any prophies as dentists at my office. We have hygienists, thankfully, that are wonderful, that do all of our periotherapy. And I've done 1 complete denture so far. Haven't done any partial dentures yet. I've already done 1 bridge. I have another one coming up this week. So just flow-wise, to put it in perspective, basically 2 years of school completed in first 2 months of work, with keeping in mind that I was ramping up at work and not even busy some of the days. So just puts into perspective, and people are like, do I need a residency or not? Am I going to be ready to work or not from dental school? Like, I would say my dental school experience was pretty average. It wasn't an exceptional amount of procedures between my peers, but I wasn't on the low end either. I was somewhere in the middle. And I finished with more requirements than we needed. So I definitely wasn't like bare minimum by any means, but I don't think I blew it out of the park, just like with the patient load that I was given. I could only do so much, obviously. So to me, I just think everyone's going to equalize within a year or so after graduation, regardless, whether you did 50 crowns in school or you only did 20 like me, or you only did 10. Like, you're going to struggle a little bit regardless once you start working with the first couple procedures of any type, just being in a new office, being in a new setting, being with new equipment, just the independence of it all, maybe more challenging cases, whatever it may be. You're going to still have some struggles, again, no matter how much you did in school, in my opinion. And the repetition, if you're in an office where you're going to be busy like I am, it's just night and day. Like, you're going to get so much more experience, so much more quickly once you're working compared to school. So I just, reminder, not get too stressed about school, because you can only get so much experience. A lot of it's out of your hands. The next thing is, what's the hardest procedure for me currently? And that would be root canals. At the moment, I'm just kind of getting going into adding this into my schedule and kind of cherry picking cases that are more straightforward. We do have a CBCT that we use to plan out the root canal, so I'm able to see how many canals each tooth has and determine if it's something I think I'm capable of doing. And I'll kind of go through the case with the mentor beforehand and then do the procedure. But these are definitely still
challenging for me at this point because I haven't done many at this office yet. And I'm sure with repetition, it's going to get easier. But at the moment, they are hard and stressful for me. And my most improved procedure would be crowns. Woohoo, finally. Because if you listened to my first month of work, I would say that those were the hardest procedures at that time. And they were the biggest stressor for sure. But now they feel fairly smooth. And upcoming CE that I'm going to, that is actually a crown CE with CEREC. So that's going to be a CEREC CE course coming up in mid-September. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that my workflow for crowns will be even better. I'll be able to do more things with the CEREC system. And in general, I know a lot of it comes down to my actual preps. No matter how cool the CEREC is or how many nifty things you can do, it's going to come down to my actual preps and my isolation and scanning and all that. So I'm really working on those specific skills so that whatever I can learn at this course is even more applicable and gets me even better results for my patients. And have I been doing any other CE in my personal time, like online CE? I haven't done any for actual credits, like taking formal courses or anything paid for, but I have been watching tutorial videos and different things on YouTube. If I have any questions, again, about maybe a CEREC system or just kind of preparing for specific cases in advance, or I might be looking up articles on like PubMed or other places just to get more like evidence if there's any kind of niche topics or like medications a patient's on or just like any tricky situations. I do and have been kind of referencing things in preparation, but I haven't done any formal CE on my own. So this one in September, the course that I'm going to is going to be my first CE that I'm engaging in, and that would be about 3 months into working. The next things are kind of financial based. So like, how is my earnings looking 2 months in, and any struggles or updates with that. So this goes back to that production versus collection. How are you paid? I am paid on collection, which is still a little bit of a struggle at this point. And I can understand why it's set up that way. Obviously, being paid on production would be better, but it's understandable to not be paid on money that the office has never gotten. But you can look at it both ways, where you have no say in what's collected, so why should you be compensated based on collection when it's out of your control? So I see both ways, but nevertheless, I am paid on collection. And I actually thought and looked at the collection rate for the office, and it's higher than what my collection rate is as an individual now that I'm here. Like, looking at it when I was interviewing, their collection rate looked better than what I see now for mine as an individual doctor, compared even to the office as a whole. And I realized and kind of talked to them, and the reason is because I'm doing a lot of bread and butter procedures, and those are being sent out to insurance. And then the patients paid their portion, and now we're waiting for the insurance to reimburse us. So that can take up to 90 days to get the full reimbursement. And I haven't been working 90 days yet, but it said 60 to 90 days. So I'm hoping that more of the reimbursements will start coming in, and that collection percentage will be going up to closer to 100% from June, and then eventually it'll go up to closer to 100% for July, and then slowly that extra money will start showing up on my paychecks, because right now it is still only the minimum amount, unfortunately. Like, my minimum pay that's in my contract, I haven't been able to go over that, even though on average I am outproducing my minimum every single day production-wise. But again, when you're paid on collections, that doesn't really matter. So slowly but surely, I'm kind of waiting for the last bit of insurance money to come in, and then hopefully my compensation will start to go up. But I know in the end it's going to be fine, because you can imagine once finally money starts coming in for June, then the next month it'll start coming in for July, and then for August. And even though I'm getting paid on money from 2 or 3 months ago, it's still consistently increased money coming in above my minimum, if that makes sense. So eventually it's going to kind of all equalize, and it'll be fine. And hopefully it'll be still like a higher number than my minimum that I'm happy with. But that was interesting and maybe something to consider, because again, when I was interviewing, their collection rate was whatever it was, and I thought that was suitable, so I was fine to be paid on collection. But now I look back at June, and for a little bit the collection rate was really low because so much money hadn't been sent in from insurance yet. And the reason that their collection rate was maybe so high was, one, I was looking back at months that already happened, so by then they'd gotten the insurance money in. But even for a month prior to when I interviewed or something, their collection rate looked really high, but that's because they were collecting for procedures not done. And they also, the other doctors do a lot of non-covered procedures. So they're doing full mouth rehab or different appliances for sleep apnea and things that are just never covered and patients have to pay out of pocket. So that boosts the collections a lot, even though you're not really looking at collections for fillings. You're looking at it for the office for a whole when I was interviewing. So it was a little skewed from what I expected, just in full transparency. But that's something to keep in mind and maybe to kind of dive in deeper when you're going through the process of just like even understanding how you're going to get paid at an office, whether or not you're going to negotiate these things differently, but just so you're more aware and prepared. Let's check in on our savings goals. So in my high yield savings account that I mentioned in the solo episode, I have different savings buckets going for the different savings goals. So we have emergency fund, house down payment, car down payment, and our honeymoon. And again, I'm putting money into them based on when it needs to happen. So the priority is my car down payment because I do need to purchase the car before the end of this year. And I have 54% saved for the car down payment, which I'm putting down well above the minimum for that because I just want the monthly payments to be a little bit lower. My emergency fund, I have around 20% saved. And then in our house down payment, we only have like 3% saved. But again, that's because I'm putting money towards the car first and then emergency fund. And then once those are fully funded, then we'll put money into the house and we'll probably be splitting it between the house and the honeymoon month to month, splitting the savings that way. Right now, there's nothing in the honeymoon because I need a car and a honeymoon is not for over a year. So like I said, it's kind of based on timelines and everything, but it'll be fun to check in future X amount of months working episodes, how much more I'm able to save towards those goals. Once again, hopefully my income starts to go up as I'm collecting more than my minimum. So I wanted to end on kind of a high note on the most important things in life, health and happiness, checking in on health and happiness. Health-wise, I think I mentioned back in the spring when I was finishing up dental school and then even starting here, I had some health struggles and I was trying to get a handle on them, going through like different doctors and like seeing if I needed referrals and all this. And it was a big headache and just a little bit stressful. And I was feeling a little bit lost and just kind of hopeless at times because I'd been dealing with these pretty awful GI issues for actually like 7 years at this point, but I kind of just dealt with it and ignored it all of dental school because I didn't have the capacity to do anything about it mentally. I just adjusted my diet and my lifestyle to where I could function, but I wasn't happy with the way I was living and it was not how I wanted to live forever. So once I graduated dental school, I made those couple months a priority to get a handle on that in May. And I started that process and really didn't get any tangible results until mid-July. I did a couple different types of testing and finally one of them yielded some results. Speaking of finances, that was expensive, even though at that point I still had a nicer health insurance plan. None of it was covered anyway, so I had to pay for all that out of pocket. So lots of expenses with adulting, but finally got some tangible results, got on some different supplements. Really, I didn't need any actual like antibiotics, but different supplements. And then in general, with being less stressed and enjoying my life and being in a very stable home, relationship, having good day-to-day life and happiness levels, and then also making really, for the most part, intentional food choices. All that combined, I feel a lot better with only a few weeks of starting these supplements since I finally got my routine from my doctor mid-July when I finally got results that we could do something about. But throughout all that, so I would say I've lost a ton of weight since finishing school throughout that spring of going through a pretty low point with that struggle of all the GI issues. But a lot of that is kind of attributed to that. So I'm not trying to glorify that in any way. But what surprises me is I kind of expected to go back to the weight that I was in dental school, which was still a little bit overweight if you want to go by scales like that. But it was interesting to me because now that I'm able to eat and enjoy life a little more fully where I wanted to be, I thought I would kind of revert back to where I was in dental school, and it's not that way at all. I'm actually still trending down, and it's very interesting because I'm not on a specific like weight loss diet. And I just want to share that because I think so much of it goes with stress. So I think my body is kind of like reset and settling into this new post dental school self, because life is just so much more pleasant outside of school. And I really don't even think I got that stressed out by dental school comparatively to colleagues. Like I had a very healthy mindset throughout dental school, and I still exercised, and like I tried to eat a little bit better than, you know, you could eat out and eat junk 24/7. I definitely didn't. I had a bit more of a balance, but even with all that, it's just crazy to see the difference in my health right now. And obviously weight is not everything, but like looking holistically at myself and at my energy levels and at my muscle tone and at just like my skin, my just everything, just how I feel, like all of that is so much better. And I think so much of that goes back to stress, because we know stress leads to inflammation, and it affects your hormones and your energy levels and just your general desire to be a functioning person. And I've also been more motivated with a skincare routine and like daily SPF and just really trying to take care of myself. And like I said, we're getting most of our veggies and produce and eggs all from our farmers market, from local farms. We even get most of our meat right now from local farms. And I think that really makes a big difference too, because it makes me more excited to try to find cool recipes with things that are in season, and just more motivated knowing that I'm cooking things for our family that's fresh and has less processing and preservatives and things in it. So overall, I just feel like I'm able to kind of thrive in this post-school life. And I hope that's some encouragement for people if they just feel like they're super, super in a rut, that just by trying to live my best life and focusing on trying to get into the gym and movement rather than calories and things, like I'm still able to continue to notice getting healthier and stronger post dental school. And that really like never happened for me in undergrad or dental school, just with, I think, honestly, the stress of everything. So hopefully that's motivating to you to know that there really is light on the other side of things. And if it wasn't clear enough, happiness wise, how am I doing? Life is great with the work-life balance of working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, half day Thursday. I pretty much have plans every single weekend with friends or family. Justin and I do, or maybe he's out of town, or I'm just seeing people on my own. We have obviously like mutual friends and then individual friends. So great mix of things. And then usually, because I have such a long weekend, I have all day Friday, half day Thursday as well. While most people are still working, I usually have time to myself. So I can do things around the house so that I don't feel like things are getting out of control and I'm too behind or too overwhelmed. I have plenty of time to do my podcasts and social media things that I'm interested in, that are passion projects of mine that I do for fun because I enjoy them, or just relax, because everyone needs downtime, you know? So I hope all of this was interesting for you and gave you some insight on my personal journey. 2 months into working, about 8 weeks of actual work. It's crazy. It's flown by, and I just feel so settled in already, even though it's only been 2 months. Like I feel like it's been years. Like I feel so comfortable at the office with the team. I think part of that is because I've known about this job for over a year now, and I met the team that long ago. I spent a couple other days at the office throughout this past year before I started working, and I went on a retreat with them and things like that. So it's not like I've only known these people for 2 months. I have known them longer, even though I wasn't seeing them every day. But now after seeing my team every single day, I just feel so settled in, and this feels like the place for me. So we're hoping that I'm going to stick around for a while, and I'm really looking forward to what the future brings with this job, with this podcast, with my personal life, and you'll all be along for the ride and future updates. I'm going to kind of keep a similar format in future updates, you know, going through what's been going good at work, what's been hard, how the financials are looking, if there's any courses I'm taking, what I've been gaining from those, just any major work takeaways, any big revelations. I'll share all of that. I'm probably going to do one of these every month or every 2 months as we keep going. It'll probably be spread out more, but I look forward to sharing everything with you. And it's so cool that so many of you have been there since I started dental school. And we went through 4 years of school, and now we're in the post-grad life, working as a dentist for who knows how long, a long time, hopefully, because it's a wonderful career. Thank you all so much again for listening, and I will talk to you next Monday.